Welcome, everyone. We are so glad you could join us today for our first of two May Advancing Throughout the Year webinars. This year marks a major milestone, 15 years of Live Well San Diego. For over a decade and a half, we've been working together to promote health, safety, and overall well-being across our communities. To celebrate, we're rolling out a full year of webinars, in-person networking events, and opportunities to engage and grow together. If you've joined us before, welcome back. And if this is your first time, thank you so much for being here today and becoming part of this learning community. Today, we're focusing on building resilience. Our guest speakers will share practical tips, tools, and resources to help your organization prepare for and respond to emergencies, something that's more important than ever. It was only 2 weeks ago, we had an earthquake here in San Diego County, and it was a wake-up call for many organizations and residents to really start thinking about how can we best prepare for the next local disaster or emergency event. Before we begin, we also have a few reminders to share. This webinar is being recorded, and your lines are muted for the entire webinar. However, both the chat box and the Q&A functions are available for all of you to use. So please take this time to say hello by adding your name and organization in the chat box. Let's see who's here. I'm Liz Welbrock, and I manage the community and faith-based organizations and rural sectors with the County of San Diego's Live Well San Diego support team. And I am absolutely honored to be your moderator today for this webinar. So here's what's on the agenda. We'll start with a quick poll through the Virtual Connection Hub platform. You can see that in the chat. Then we'll have an emergency preparedness training from our partners from the Office of Emergency Services. After that, we'll have time to ask our speakers some questions. And lastly, a real brief feedback form. And by the end of this webinar, you'll have a clear understanding of the 4 phases of emergency management, planning on blue sky days or non-disaster days, and tools to assess operations and collaborate with partners. So let's get started. Before we get into the presentation, we'll start with a quick poll question in the Virtual Connection Hub, or what we refer to as the VCH. So we'll take a pause to give you some time to answer that question. You can click on the link in the chat, or you can scan the QR code on the screen. And the question is, how prepared do you feel your organization is to handle a disaster or emergency event? Remember, there are no wrong answers. Your answers will be displayed on the Virtual Connection Hub so that everyone here can learn from each other. So we'll pause for a minute or two right now for you to answer. Thank you. Thank you all for participating in our virtual connection hub poll question. It'll be active throughout this entire webinar. So if you weren't able to answer it right now, it's okay. It'll still be there. Check it out later. All right. So now let's get into the presentation. To ask the speakers questions, you can submit your questions in the Q&A box, which is at the bottom center of your screen. And if you have comments to share during the presentations, you can input them in the chat box. And at this point, I am so pleased to introduce our speakers today, Myla Barker and Edwin Ulloa. Myla Barker is an Emergency Services Coordinator with the County of San Diego, Office of Emergency Services. Myla's project area is strategic engagement, where she focuses on the people aspect of emergency management through building connections and relationships, identifying gaps in services and networks, evaluating resources and capacity of the community to support resilience, education, and preparedness. One fun fact about Myla is she lifts weights for fun with a personal record of 315 pounds back squat and 315 pounds deadlift. That is incredible. Next, we have Edwin Ulloa. He served in the Marine Corps for 5 years before joining the Red Cross and then coming to the County of San Diego's Office of Emergency Services. Edwin has a bachelor's in conflict resolution and master's in Homeland Security and Emergency Management from San Diego State University. And a fun fact about Edwin is he enjoys long runs in the mountains in his free time. All right, without further ado, I will pass it over to our guest speakers. Myla and Edwin, take it away.
Thanks, Liz. Edwin, over to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Like Liz said, my name is Edwin Ulloa. I'm the Emergency Services Coordinator here with the County Office of Emergency Services. Next slide, please. And I actually want to give everyone a quick overview of what our office actually does. One more slide, please. Yeah, so we are, like I said, we are the County Office of Emergency Services, the Emergency Operations Center. So we overlook both the unincorporated county and the operational area during disaster. What is the operational area? That is actually the entire county, including jurisdictions. Now, this does not mean that the county takes governmental responsibility for those jurisdictions. They are still standalone jurisdictions. The Emergency Operations Center is location where the emergency will be coordinated on a leadership level. So essentially, we collect real-time data and information on developing events and setting up to a policy level. It is important to know that the EOC does not have a fixed location, so we can move around. And that's also important for communities because communities can also create an emergency operations center within that community that's affected. So that's something to always like keep in the back of your mind, that on the community level, you can still have that little emergency operations center and help each other out. The EOC on the county level is also coordinates resources across different agencies, jurisdictions, utilities such as SDG&E, and many others. We monitor all hazard threats across the county. If you go to our website, you can actually see our multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan, and that's actually being currently updated with all the jurisdictions. We are also the alerting authority of the county. We are the owner of the alert and warning systems that are used by different jurisdictions. Each jurisdiction sends their own alerts, with the county serving as a secondary. I am actually one of the alert and warning coordinators for our office. Next slide, please. So 4 phases of disaster. So we have preparedness, so getting ready before something happens. We have a response. What do we do during a disaster? So government, we have firefighters, we have law enforcement. So it's pretty obvious what the government does, but also what does the community do? Always like people like to say first responders are the firefighters, the EMTs and all that, but in reality, the first responders are actually the community. The community that's being affected, they're the ones who are actually helping people first. Recovery. So helping everyone get back to normal. And that is in parentheses, normal. What is normal, right? Normal does not mean that you're going straight back to where you were, because you always have that moment in the back of your mind, like almost like PTSD, like you don't want it to happen again, right? So then we have mitigation. So this is trying to stop big damage before it happens. I'll give some examples of mitigation after this. Next slide, please. All right, so preparedness. So we make plans, practice drills, stock supplies, and learn what to do in emergency. So you're always ready when something goes wrong. Our office has a great tool, and I'll have a QR code on the next slide. We call it the Know Your Hazards tool. So this will be the type of hazards in your area that you live, work, etc. Using this tool can give you an idea of what you should be preparing for. I myself, for the floods, didn't use this tool, and I was actually in the floodplain. My home was flooded during last year's flood. So now I have moved, but I use that hazard tool. I'm like, okay, what's my hazard? Well, my hazard now is wildfires, unfortunately. Next slide, please. And I'll give everybody a few seconds to get that QR code. This is the Know Your Hazards tool. All right. Next slide, please. All right, so community support planning. So you're actually doing this right now. You are getting the information needed to take back to your community and communicate with them the phases of disaster and the types of alerts that we send. So invite the community to plan, right? It's like once you go back, invite everyone to get together, have a plan, have a plan and share disaster plans with each other. Let others know if you have access and functional needs during evacuation, and always discuss a meeting place where your loved ones can find you. So we do have temporary evacuation points during wildfires. So you would go there, but not everybody's going to be in the same area. So always make sure that you have a preset destination of where you can find your loved ones. Next slide, please. So make a plan. Preparedness comes from you. Make sure you've installed smoke and carbon detectors in your home. Make sure you know where your utility points are and how to disconnect them. Examples are gas mains and electrical boxes. 2 years ago during the San Bernardino winter storm, many of the damages that occurred was due to gas. Because of the snow winds, there was a lot of the gas lines ruptured and it would actually start fires. The next part is insurance. I'll talk a little bit more about insurance in the recovery phase, but insurance is extremely important. You have to make sure that you've spoken to your agent to see what the actual coverage is. Some fire insurance, in parentheses, will cover your home, but only if that fire starts within your home. Does not cover a wildfire. Same with home insurance. And the same with flood insurance as well. Some flood insurance will only cover like a water pipe that floods your home. Does not cover a natural flood. So reach out to your insurance agent after this, and just confirm with them, what does my insurance actually cover? Always take pictures monthly of your home and properties. This is actually something that I've started doing after my home was flooded. That way you have a running record of everything that you own, that the insurance they can state to the insurance before the disaster. For myself, I actually did do this for the floods, and I showed my insurance like, hey, this is the property that I had before, and this is the damages. So it's a great tool to have. It actually can save quite a bit of time as well. Next slide, please. All right, so planning for medical equipment. So if you have access and functional needs, make sure you add instruction cards to your medical equipment. A lot of times people want to help you, but they don't know how to use your medical equipment. So those instruction cards are excellent to use so that people can help you before EMTs can get to you. Identify any critical supplies that should be taken, such as oxygen tanks and any other medications. Ask your utility company about backup power source. So for this, it will be SDG&E. Give them a call and see what they can provide to you if you have access and functional needs. And last, know your location of more than one life-sustaining treatment. An example would be dialysis centers. With dialysis centers, just make sure you have like 1 or 2 places where you can go and get the treatment needed. All right, so make a go kit. This is actually one of my favorites. I have a couple go kits. I have one in my car, one in my garage, and one at home. And I actually have copies of my important documents in each one of those, as well as bottled water. I actually have a case of bottled water in my car, so I can just get out of the area that I need to. I also have a list of medications. This is you can go to a pharmacy and get emergency medications if needed. Contact information for the household. I have contact information for my significant other, and I have contact information for my cats as well. I am a big cat person, and they all have their collars with their phone numbers of who to reach out to. I always keep a flashlight nearby. I have multiple flashlights around the house. I am a bit of a prepper ever since I started this. Started in this field, so I just have things laying around everywhere. Cash. Make sure you have small denomination cash. Sometimes the internet will be out, and you won't be able to use your credit card. So small denominations of cash. Next slide, please. So in your Go kit, make sure you have a backup medical equipment. For your vehicles, those tire repair kits and tire inflators are very great. I'm really big into camping, and so I have an actual repair kit and tire inflator. And actually something that I've been doing now is that because I do go camping, I have everything that I need for camping, which is food, water, clothing, in boxes. And I realized like, oh, if I have to leave, I can just put all those boxes into my vehicle and it's ready to go because I love to camp and that's something that's always ready. Supplies for pets. I actually have a box for my cats that has enough food and water plus their litter for about a week. Portable cell phone charger. You can get these at Costco now. You can get them on Amazon. They're actually pretty cheap now. I remember like about 8 years ago, they were extremely expensive, but always invest in a solid portable cell phone charger, at least one that can charge your phone once. They're really great to have. And I take them when I travel. It's been a lifesaver for me a few times. And I'm going to turn it over to Mila to speak on 211.
Yes, thanks, Edwin, so much for all that really great information this far. So we want everyone to get connected with 211. I know that you all have probably experienced an emergency or a disaster recently or in the past, and you've been instructed to call 211. We want everyone to get connected with 211 during the Blue Sky Days because 211 has a broad network of community-based and faith-based organizations that provide support to communities on a daily basis and can honestly help you close some of those gaps to access those resources to help you along the way and possibly building a go bag or just being aware of food assistance, transportation services, veteran services, and anything else you might need to support you in your day-to-day lives. And so kind of going back to what Liz said at the beginning of this presentation, we want to make sure that we're prepared during our blue sky days and not just during the gray skies. And the really big key component to that is understanding your community networks and resources now. So thank you for that. Over to you, Edwin.
Thank you. All right. So now we've talked about preparedness. What do we do in the response phase, right? This is when we have that fire. This is when we have that flooding. So this is basically all the actions that are being taken to save lives and to prevent further property and damage in that emergency situation. So this is putting your preparedness action in your preparedness plan in action, right? So everything that you've done in the previous slides that I've told you about, this is this is how you test it essentially. So anything from like shelter from a tornado, which we've actually had a tornado warning here in California now. So by knowing where to take shelter, turning off your gas valves during an earthquake or electrical or great response activities, right? So response activities take place during an emergency and is where you see the first responders. But once again, the community is actually the first responders. And I want to really emphasize it. You're there. You're the one who knows your community. You know your neighbor. You know they have access and functional needs. So know your community and help out your community. Help out your neighbor. Next slide, please. Okay, so I'll get into the recovery phase. I know I spoke about getting back to insurance. So recovery phase. So this is after the danger is over, right? Well, we say after the danger is over. This is actually after the actual incident happens. So this is where the community cleans up, fixes homes, they help the family and support the community as they heal. Now, this can take a short time or a long time, depending on how big a disaster was. One of the great examples is Hurricane Katrina that took a little bit over a decade to close out. And like I said, that was a large incident. The fires in Palisades and up in Los Angeles, this will also be a long process to return back to normal, as they would say. And remember, normal is not back to exactly where you were, is back to the community being able to just continue operations. So during the January 22nd severe storm and flooding, federal assistance was approved February 19th. Now remember, the flooding was January 22nd. So it took a long time for our declaration to be approved. So the average of housing assistance was under $11,000. That's to a home. The average other needs assistance was under $2,000. So other needs assistance is medications, transportation, daycare, smaller needs that you need for everyday living. So once again, this is why your insurance is key. So speak to your agent about coverage. Next slide, please. So the major federal recovery programs. So we have individual assistance, and this is the one that you have to really look at. So we have individual assistance and we have public assistance. Individual assistance is the money that is the program that will help you, the people, recover. Public assistance is actually government to government. So what can the government provide to the state and what can the state provide to the county? So for individual assistance for last year during the storms, uh, the housing assistance is $43,000. The other needs assistance, $43,000. So this is a potential of $87,000 combined. This is the max. During the floods, under 35 households got the max. And we have to think about how many households were affected. Hundreds of households. The other needs assistance max award, under 5 households. So you have to remember the governments will never make you whole, unfortunately. So it's really up to the community. Next slide, please. And so we get to our long-term recovery heroes. This is the community right here. So you have to remember that government applications will close. So that application for individual assistance, FEMA will close that. And once it's closed, it's very difficult to get a waiver to get assistance. Once again, I want to emphasize the government assistance will not make you whole. Like we saw in this last slide, they do not give very much money and they did not give it to a lot of people. Major donations and public attention will fade away really quickly. I went up to the northern county and I will say that a lot of people have forgotten about the floods. And that is unfortunate, but attention will fade away. And I guess this takes me back to the community is the long-term recovery heroes. So I'm actually one of the liaisons to San Diego BOAD. San Diego Valley is great. We were able to get a lot of organizations together to do debris removal, case management. So during the floods, a lot of us saw Team Rubicon out there, the American Red Cross Corps, so that's United Methodist Committee on Relief. They did great with debris removal and then removing uh, flooded debris. San Diego Food Bank, they were very key in providing food during the beginning of the disaster and recovery. And the Salvation Army, they did great with providing clothing. And these are just small examples of how the community helps each other. Next slide, please. All right. So we get to the mitigation phase. So this is where, after the disaster, we look at how do we stop this from happening again? So we have those hazard reduction efforts. We have community engagement and incentives, investments in resilience, and there's differences between governments and community mitigation. And I'll get to those here in a bit. I do want to give some examples of government mitigation. One of them is, as many people have heard, forest management. So county parks and recreation, we will continue to conduct brush and vegetation management and to preserve the reduction in fire and flooding risks. The other one is the investments in resilience. So the action is the California Wildfire Mitigation Program. So this is like a home hardening initiative. So County Fire is currently working with the California Office of Emergency Services to pilot the California Wildfire Mitigation Program. So the initiative aims to perform defensible space and retrofit measures on existing residential home sites to mitigate against wildfire losses. This program targets high social vulnerability communities and provides financial assistance to qualifying low and moderate income households. This pilot program will be implemented in 3 high-risk areas within San Diego County, Dulzura, Potrero, and Campo. Go to the next slide, please. All right, so we'll get into my bread and butter here. So these are the types of alerts and warning, alert and platforms. We have the WIA, and I'll get into what they mean. We have the WIA, the EAS, Alert San Diego, SD Emergency, Genesis Protect, Watch Duty. It's not, this is a private company, as well as the high-low siren, but that sheriffs have. Next slide, please. All right, so this is the wireless emergency alert. So this is the alert that you will get on your phone when there's an incident going on. The best example is wildfires. If we have a evacuation order or warning, you'll get that really, really annoying alert that just screams at you, and that's how you know it's a WIA. So this will send an emergency message to those mobile devices. You cannot turn this off. You automatically get it. And this does work by cell phone towers, regardless of the provider. So this can be issued by federal, state, and local authorities. Many of you have maybe seen the National Weather Service send out like flood risks or tornado warnings. So like I said, that is federal, and then we have state and local authorities. Local authorities will be the county and the jurisdictions. So like I said, NWS uses it for extreme weather and urgent situations. There's no sign up required for this. This is automatically enabled on most phones. I believe it's phones from like 2005 and below that don't really get these. Next slide, please. All right, so when you get those alerts, what do they mean? So these are the definitions. Evacuation warning. There is a threat that poses potential danger to life or property. This could change to an order as well. So if you need extra time, pack them and leave now, right? So if you have pets, if you have access and functional needs, start going. Don't wait until that evacuation order where you have to leave immediately. For myself, like I said, I have everything kind of prepared and I live in a high wildfire area. So if I start to see smoke and I get an evacuation warning, for me, that's time for me to go. Like, I don't want to wait for that order to come in. Our last one is the shelter in place. So this means that everyone needs to lock down And like I said, shelter in place. Make sure you close and lock all your doors and stay inside until further instruction. This could be another WIA. It could also be sheriffs or the local law enforcement for that area going around and letting people know. All right, so we go into our emergency alert system. So if everyone remembers those from the movies, that really annoying sound that comes through your radio and through your TV, well, this is what that is, the EAS system. So this is it's a broadcast-based alert that interrupts radio and TV. This is issued by FEMA, National Weather Service, and local agencies. This is actually only something our office can send out. It can be used for national security threat, natural disasters, and local emergencies. It override radio, TV, and some cable and satellite services. One thing that's been happening lately is a few new car makers are removing AM from their vehicles, and we're actually looking to see if we can stop that because this warning system goes through AM radio. All right. All right, so we're getting to Alert San Diego. This is the county opt-in system. I'm sure if you heard our office and sheriffs, law enforcement, CAL FIRE tell you, please opt into the Alert San Diego notification system so that you get extra notifications, you get extra information. The reason for this is because the WIA can only send so much information at once. You have a 90 character and 360 character limit. It's really difficult to get out a lot of information within those limits. And that limit is a federal standard. So Alert San Diego will alert you through a call, a text, and an email. So we use it for evacuations, severe weather, and hazardous incidents. And if you receive a WIA, you will also receive an Alert San Diego. So you do have to sign up for this. You can also sign up family members or friends who haven't signed up yet, and so they will get those alerts as well. And this is managed by our office. Next slide, please. So I'll give everyone a few seconds to get this QR code and go to our page to sign up for this. You don't have to sign up right now. Well, I prefer you sign up right now, but you can keep it on a different tab. Next slide, please. All right, so this is our SD emergency app. So this is the app that we ourselves own. This is a little bit of an older app, but it's the official app for emergency updates in San Diego. Like I said, this does provide a push notification and shelter locations as well as animal shelters and roads that are blocked. What I like about this app is that it also gives you tools to prepare and how to recover as well. This is free to download and use, and we will never send you any type of spam or unofficial news on this. So like I said, it's free to download and use. Play around with it. It's a fun little app. But yeah, I really like it. So I'll give you the QR code here. Next slide, please. Please take a moment to get that QR code, please. All right, next slide, please. All right, so this is our Genesis Protect. So this is a little bit newer. This is a lot better technology than our SD emergency app. So this is used for evacuations, public safety warnings, and disaster response. So this will also deliver a push message to your mobile device. This is a location-based emergency communication system, and it can also tell you about repopulation notifications. So this app has been used a lot during wildfires. So a little bit more background about myself. I have been to every large fire in the county since 2022, with the last big fire being the Border 2 fire. And it's a great tool because it's color coded. So when an evacuation has been lifted, you can go back to your home. It'll actually turn green. It'll let you know that you can go back. Another thing that I like about this app is that you can actually sign up for different areas. So if you have a loved one that lives further away, you can sign up for that area as well. And if something changes in that zone, you will also get that notification. So I personally have about three areas that I'm signed up for. That way I know that my family and friends are safe. And then once again, here is the QR code for Genesis Protect. And once again, this is also free to use. You do not have to pay for this, and we will not spam anything on here. All right, let's go on to our next slide, please. All right, so this is watch duty. This is not managed by the county, but it is a great source. So it shows you the real-time wildfire alert system with crowdsource updates. And as of right now, it's really only for wildfires. They are improving their technology. So this is operated by nonprofit firefighters and volunteers. They essentially listen to radios and different tactical channels to get those updates. So they will provide live fire perimeter updates, scanner feeds, and official reports. That's actually something I really like about their app is that they will link official reports of the government so that you can see that everything's vetted, right? So the thing with watch duty is that they're very quick. Sometimes they're a little too quick. One of the examples I had was the garden fire, I believe that was at. There was they were speaking on the radio about evacuation order, and so watch duty did place an evacuation order on there. Ended up being a shelter in place because the fire was blocking the road. So, like I say, always vet the information. And Watch Duty has gotten really, really good with that. I will say that I use Watch Duty myself, but take it with a grain of salt and always vet the information. And then I will turn it over to Mila.
Thank you so much, Edwin. Yeah, that's a lot of really great information, a lot of really amazing tools for situational awareness to prepare your family and friends to receive important updates and information on how to keep yourself safe. Here on this segment of the presentation, we're going to talk about the County Office of Emergency Services Strategic Engagement Strategy through the Community-Based Organization and Faith-Based Organization Network. We're looking to map out these networks through a whole community approach to emergency planning. So this is reimagining public safety through culturally competent, community-informed approaches. County OES is mapping the CBO FBO network using the whole community approach, and we are reviewing and cross-referencing existing databases through our internal partners with Health and Human Services, Partner Relay, and LiveWell. Also our external friends at 211 San Diego, as well as San Diego BOAD. We're looking to organize this CBO FBO network map by region. So coastal, central, south, north, and east, by sector, feeding, sheltering, childcare, and transportation, and even more. And we're also just looking for community and religious hubs and networks. And we just really want to understand the community-based organization and faith-based organization services, the capacities, and also the interest in joining a regional working group. This is extremely important. I'm sure that a lot of people are wondering, how can I get involved? How can we get our organizations involved? How can we get organized? How can we get educated? And so we are building a strategy to provide resources to support the community in doing that. So building the foundation for a CBO FBO community hub. So once the network is visualized on that network map, the county can support a community hub model grounded in trust and cultural competence, streamline data collection and communication between communities and the county EOC, and enable tailored community-specific resource delivery and increase effectiveness of the on-the-ground emergency response by integrating CBO, FBO capacities. So what that means is, I think earlier in the presentation, we kind of gave you a little bit of an overview of who we are and what we do in the Emergency Operations Center. We want to support the community in building their own emergency operations centers where you're able to acquire the information, the data on the ground, and you're able to make decisions on what your community needs and communicate that effectively to the local government so that we can pass that information along to our local policymakers and we can have a more streamlined response. This is actually a best practice. It's through implementing a best practice framework called the whole community approach, which is actually a FEMA framework, where you actually just take inventory of the various organizations that you have in your community, who they are, what they do, and the resources that they are able to provide. Also, when you come to the table as a community, you're able to identify what your resource gaps are. If there are resource gaps in your community, because you are in a collaborative environment and you have all the stakeholders there, 9 times out of 10, you're able to identify organizations in the community that can help close those gaps, and therefore you're able to streamline those services on the ground to support a better long-term recovery. So again, the whole community planning and action. I think I kind of just went into detail of what that looks like in practice. But community implementation also includes inclusive planning and collaborative working groups, educational workshops and independent study courses. These are some of the components that we're looking to provide the community as we're building out our strategic engagement strategy. We would like to provide spaces where we're facilitating educational workshops on how to conduct this type of planning. And then also FEMA has free courses that is open to the public that we're also going to provide in a curriculum format to community-based organizations and faith-based organizations to educate yourselves more so on what this looks like. Eventually, we would like to host tabletop exercises and develop after-action reports for CBOs and FBOs. In the emergency management realm, we facilitate tabletop exercises and after action reports. We also host educational workshops and we also take independent study courses. So we want to implement a very similar learning environment for the CBOs and the FBOs as well. And I think that the tabletop exercises will be very instrumental and for the community to actually see if the plans that you've developed and the networks that you've developed make sense for the emergencies and the hazards that you're planning for. And then also once you have your after action reports, you're able to see what works, what doesn't work, and also just be aware of what your gaps are. So when things happen, you're able to think proactively of how to address those. We just want everyone to deepening their understanding of jurisdictional roles and the concept of governance. As we mentioned earlier, we are the County Office of Emergency Services. We also have 18 jurisdictions here in the county, and we also have 18 federally recognized tribes. And so there's a lot of different boundaries here to take into consideration, and we just want everyone to be aware of what their community looks like. And then also we want the community to understand their role in resilience and emergency planning life cycle. So there are different organizations that offer various amount of services during blue skies. And so I really want everyone to start thinking about where would I fit within the 4 phases of emergency management? Would I be able to support in the areas of preparedness, response, recovery, or mitigation? Maybe you fit in all 4 aspects of those phases, or maybe you fit in 1 or 2. So really start to think about that. And then also we have a really great relationship with the partner relay. So this is where we get into culturally competent communication, relationship building, and really building out a whole community approach that makes sense for the communities that we're serving. So the Partner Relay is an initiative to improve communication with limited English proficiency communities during natural disaster and public health emergencies. The goal of Partner Relay is to share accurate county information with limited English proficient communities during emergencies and/or disasters. Partner Relay is critically important because during emergencies, limited English proficient populations face many challenges such as language, cultural, technological, and logistical barriers. And so Partner Relay is our really key partner to help us close those gaps. I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, because this is very exciting information, who operates the Partner Relay program and possibly how can I get involved? This is a county collaboration with the community coordinated by the Office of Border Health and Public Health Services and the Office of Emergency Services. Also, Partner Relay, how does the Partner Relay network prepare for disasters and emergency? This group hosts quarterly emergency preparedness and public health trainings for partner agencies, conducts drills for partners to practice emergency communication, and maintains a network of trusted community stakeholders that share information into various languages with community. The Partner Relay serves representatives from a variety of trusted community stakeholders that include government entities, non-governmental organizations, healthcare organizations, community-based organizations, and faith-based organizations. So it's all of you lovely people in our audience today. We also want the community to be aware of opportunities to get involved in your CERT programs in San Diego County. We have the link to the county webpage that has every single CERT program listed on that webpage. Again, we've talked about the concept of governance and understanding jurisdictional boundaries. There are CERT programs based on where you live. And so it's very important that when you go to this webpage and based on where you live, you identify your CERT program and you get in contact. CERT is a great program to get real-time training for the community to really support community response and support in closing those gaps. Also, we want everyone to get tapped into your local Red Cross training resources. I was also an AmeriCorps member with the American Red Cross. I think American Red Cross has really great programs. I love their Sound the Alarm program. If you need resources, the Red Cross is able to support in closing those gaps as well. And we have made it to our conclusion of the presentation. So we went over 4 phases of disaster management or disaster and emergency management. We went over some information on knowing your alerts, and hopefully you all were able to sign up for all those resources. We gave you some awesome preparedness, preliminary preparedness tips. And then also we went over some community planning details. So thank you all so much for coming and listening to us today. We're looking forward to hopefully collaborating with the audience in the future.
All righty, great. Thank you so much, Mila and Edwin, for the wonderful presentation and for all the amazing resources that you shared. We have some time for questions now, so let's open it up to Q&A. Thank you for all of you who put questions in the Q&A box and in the chat. You can continue putting them in the Q&A box. If we aren't able to get to some of the questions today, we will still get them answered by our experts and send them in a recap email after this webinar. Okay, so we had some pre-submitted questions and some live questions. Why don't we get right to it? First question. What are some differences in responding and preparing staff and clients for various emergencies, including earthquakes, fire, or an active shooter training? Maybe Edwin?
Yeah, I can definitely take this one. Yeah, so there's a lot of differences that vary with different incidents. And examples that were just provided, like earthquakes, we have to drop and cover, right? So get under a table, get under something sturdy. And we've done drills, like we've done these kind of drills in elementary school through high school, and you can still practice it within your building, within your home, with your family members, and it's pretty fun to do. Depending on the severity, always have the plan C for accountability as well. So depending on where you are, hey, like give someone a text, give someone a call. And like I said before, if it's a severe incident, always have a place to meet up. So for fires, like if you receive that evacuation warning, don't wait. Get out of the area for peace of mind. You don't want to be rushing once you get the evacuation order. Make sure your pets are prepared as well. And if you have those medical needs, have it all set out and get ready. For the active shooters, many of us know about the run, hide, fight. So run away from that situation, right? And this is not like a jog. Run away as fast as possible, and get yourself into a safe area. So for the hide, if you need to hide, make sure you turn off the lights, lock those doors, and if possible, barricade yourself. If you have to fight, fight for your life. There's no honor code when it comes to saving your own life. Yeah. And I hope that answers the question.
Yes, thank you. All right, and now for Mila, how do you suggest building gaps between social, economic groups and cultural divides? Can you elaborate on any existing programs that cultivate community between them?
Thank you, Liz. Yeah, so that's a great question. I think that the CBO, FBO network mapping presentation kind of answers that question, but also to go into a little bit more detail, just understanding and taking inventory of who is in your network, what resources they provide, what resources they cannot provide, just understanding their overall capacity to support. Like I said, we have partner relay that we're really looking to leverage as we're looking to develop our strategic engagement outreach strategy. And then also, I'm aware that Health and Human Services has a lot of really awesome data on the community in regards to, what those gaps are in socioeconomically. And so we're looking to leverage a lot of that information to visualize and understand where we can target our communities more effectively and more efficiently, and really make sure that we're providing support to those who need it the most as well. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, and you had mentioned, different events in San Diego during your webinar, and this question is related for either of you. Any lessons learned or tips from the floods and the grassroots response of the 2022 flood in National City in Southeast San Diego?
Yeah, so I can start with this one a little bit more on the government side. So feeding and lodging was definitely difficult for us to coordinate with third parties. And then we also had very little visibility on the capacity of faith-based organizations within the EOC for us. Like, this is why we're doing this, right? We're getting out there and we want to know who is out there and what resources they have. So like I said, if you fit within those 4 phases of a disaster, we want to know that which phase you fit in, if you fit on all 4, like Mila said. And I'll give it over to Mila for a bit more emphasis.
Yeah, thanks, Edwin. So we learned a lot about the flood impacts in National City and in Southeast San Diego. We learned that first and foremost, we learned that the community is extremely resilient and that there are a lot of community-based and faith-based organizations in San Diego that are awesome, that are willing to step up in the time of emergencies and disasters and support their neighbors. I think that's the most profound thing that I'm really very excited to work with these organizations on. Another thing that we've learned is that there are gaps between communication with CBOs and FBOs up to the EOC. And so through building our strategic engagement and outreach strategy and through network mapping, we are looking to close those communication gaps. Also, data collection and information sharing. There are gaps in data collection, information sharing. There are varying methods of data collection, information sharing. And so what we're looking to do is work with our internal and external partners to understand what data we need to be collecting to streamline that information more efficiently to support these communities better during emergencies and disasters, but also, like we said, blue skies and gray skies, not just when something happens. So those are just a few things. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And for either of you, can you provide training specifically for faith-based organizations?
So
And can,
yes, yeah. So I think like again, like this outreach strategy is extremely education based. Um, One thing that is specifically in my work that I'm extremely passionate about is education. I think in order to have an engaged community, you have to have an educated community. So we're absolutely we are revamping how we do outreach and how we engage the community. And once we're aware of what the faith-based organization network looks like, as well as the CBO network looks like, we're looking to target these areas and these networks through workshops, through facilitating tabletop exercises, after action reports, and really supporting in just supporting in educating the community on how to facilitate these conversations within the context of emergency management. So yes, we do have resources. Yes, we are going to be rolling them out. And so we're really excited to engage with you all.
excellent, thank you. And then we have one question for Edwin. Are photographs better than videos for insurance purposes? You mentioned about your insurance process during the webinar.
Yeah, so both are great tools to use. I highly suggest using both of them. Something that I forgot to mention is we're keeping receipts of your like larger items like TVs, computers, so on and so forth, because that's great to show the insurance like, hey, this is proof that I actually did have this in my home. And a lot of them have like warranties. You can look into that, but that's really kind of specific to what you have. Um, but yeah, use both. Take those pictures, take those videos. It can't hurt you, right? And another thing too, I forgot to mention is that so when we go tabling at events, I'll usually bring these recovery handbooks, and it kind of tells you everything on how to recover and how to use like how to go through your insurances and what you need, like what documents you would need. But hopefully that answers that.
Yes, it did. Thank you. Okay. We have one last question, but that I guess that would be more for me. It's how can we access this awesome recording, this training for people who couldn't make it today? Well, there will be a follow-up recap email that will go out, and we will also post it on our website. So we'll share some of that information in the chat box so that people can share this video who weren't able to come. I want to first thank our presenters for this amazing training. Thank you for all your insights. Like Edwin said at the beginning, you've already started your emergency preparedness efforts just by being here today. So I want to share some results from that VCH or Virtual Connection Hub poll we took earlier at the beginning of this webinar. 77% of those who answered said they felt somewhat, not very, or not prepared at all. So we hope after this training, you are feeling more prepared to help your organization plan and prepare on these blue sky days like today. We have one last thing that we're asking of you, which is, can you please give us your feedback on this training? The QR code is on your screen. But your feedback is so important to us as we shape this advancing throughout the year learning program. All right, and lastly, we have an upcoming webinar during Small Business Week on May 7th at 9 a.m. Please join us. Also coming up, our next in-person networking event will be in August. So stay tuned for more details on these special events. For more information and to register, please visit our Virtual Connection Hub website, or you can use the link in the chat. And if we missed your question today, please email me. We will get the answer for you. That's all our time today. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you to our fabulous presenters, and we hope to connect with you in the near future. Thank you.